Elephants grieve. Dogs whimper. Chimpanzees scream when they're hurt. But not a single one of them, not one animal on this entire planet, sheds tears when they're sad. Only you do. And science still doesn't fully agree on why. Now, your first instinct is probably to argue with me. You've seen the video. The elephant with a wet streak down its face at the sanctuary? The viral photo? The documentary narrator saying she's mourning her calf. It's a beautiful story. It's also wrong. That fluid on an elephant's face isn't an emotional tear. It comes from the temporal gland, a stress-related secretion near the ear. It's basic duct overflow. It has nothing to do with sadness. Chimpanzees, our closest cousins, mourn their dead loudly. They scream. They pull at the body. They refuse to leave. But their eyes stay completely dry. Dogs tear up from blocked ducts and irritation, never from feeling. They feel. They just don't leak. So to understand why you're the weird one, you need to know that there are actually three kinds of tears, and only one of them is interesting. Tear number one, basal tears. You're making them right now. They lubricate your eye every time you blink, all day, every day. Boring. Necessary. Every mammal has them. Tear number two, reflex tears. Onion vapor, dust, a poke in the eye, pure mechanical defense. Every mammal has those too. Tear number three, psychic tears, emotional tears. The kind that show up when your dog dies or when you're proud of your kid or when you're watching a commercial about a golden retriever waiting at a window. Those are yours, alone. No other animal on Earth produces them. And here's the part that should bother you a little. They appear to be chemically different from the other two. According to the original 1985 study, emotional tears carry higher levels of prolactin, ACTH, a stress hormone, and leucine and enkephalin, a natural painkiller your body makes that's chemically similar to morphine. You are literally crying out little drops of opioid. That fact alone has kept scientists arguing for 40 years. So why do you do it? There are three serious theories, and they each belong to a different scientist. Theory 1. Ad Vingerhoets from Tilburg University in the Netherlands. Basically, the world's leading crying researcher argues that tears are an SOS signal. Think about what happens to you when you cry. Your vision blurs. Your face contorts in a way that's hard to fake. Your throat closes. You become visibly and undeniably useless. In a hypersocial species like ours, that's not a bug. That's the whole point. A blurry, defenseless, openly sad human is a walking flare gun that says, I am not a threat. Come help me. And in a tribe of 50 people who depend on each other to survive, that signal saves lives. But what about the chemistry? Why are there stress hormones in there? Therefore, theory 2. In 1985, a biochemist named William Frey looked at the contents of emotional tears and noticed something nobody had bothered to check. They were carrying stress chemicals. So he proposed that crying was literally a way to drain the bad stuff out of your body. Cry it out. For real, it's a beautiful theory. It's also mostly outdated. Later studies couldn't replicate the magnitude of the effect. The chemical difference Frey reported has held up in spirit, if not in every detail. But it's never been robustly replicated. And the idea that you flush enough stress hormones through your tear ducts to noticeably change your mood, that part remains contested. Frey wasn't wrong about the chemistry. He may have been wrong about why it matters, but it's just a signal. Why does crying often happen when you're completely alone? Nobody's watching, nobody's coming. Therefore, theory 3. In 2014, Asmir Gračanin and colleagues working with Vingerhoets published a paper in Frontiers in Psychology with a sharper idea. Crying is an appeasement weapon. When you cry in the middle of a fight, watch what happens to the other person. Their aggression tends to drop. In lab studies where researchers digitally added tears to photos of faces, observers rated those exact same faces as sadder, more deserving of help, and less threatening. And the same de-escalation seems to play out in real conflicts. The tear itself did the work. Privately, when you cry alone, the same physiological downshift kicks in. Your nervous system reads the act of crying as proof that the crisis is being handled and starts to de-escalate. So which one is right? Probably all three. Vingerhoets gave us the signal. Gračanin showed us what the signal does to other people. Frey, even if his mechanism is shaky, was right that something in the chemistry matters. Tears are doing a lot of jobs at once. They are not a single tool. They're a Swiss Army knife your face is holding. So here's the answer to the question you clicked on. Why are humans the only animal that cries? Because we're the only animal that needed to. Other animals feel sadness too. Elephants grieve, dogs hurt, chimps mourn their dead, but they don't cry. Because they don't depend on a group the way we do. We survived by sticking together, and tears became the fastest way to say, I need help, not without a single word. An animal that survives alone has no use for that signal, so it never grew one. We did. That's the real difference. It's not that we feel more, it's that we're the only ones who ever had to show it. And that brings us to the part of this video I actually wanted to tell you. When you watch another person cry, on a screen, across a table, in a hospital hallway, something happens inside your skull before you have any say in it. Brain scans show that the sight of human tears lights up the anterior cingulate cortex, the anterior insula, and midbrain reward areas. That's the same kind of circuit that fires when a parent looks at their own crying infant. You did not choose to feel sympathy. Your hardware chose for you. Before language, before judgment, before the part of your brain that decides whether you even like this person. which means tears are also exploitable. People who cry on cue, manipulators, politicians, that one X, are hijacking a circuit that's older than your species. Studies on crocodile tears show that even when observers later decide the tears were fake, the initial automatic empathic response has already fired. The damage is done in the first half second. You can be embarrassed about being moved. You cannot decide not to be. Which finally gets us to the question you actually came here for, maybe without realizing it. Why does crying make you feel better? You're not losing meaningful amounts of stress hormones, you're losing a few drops of salt water. So where does the relief come from? Here's the answer, and it's a little uncomfortable. The relief isn't chemical, it's social. Your nervous system rewards you the moment you cry, because it believes you have just sent the signal. It believes someone somewhere, even if no one is physically in the room, is now obligated to care. The relief is the unconscious certainty that you have made yourself care. Worthy. Your tears aren't draining the pain. They're cashing in a social receipt that your body wrote about 300,000 years ago, back when there was always someone in the cave to receive it. So the next time you cry alone at 2 in the morning over something stupid, try not to feel weak about it. You're not broken. You're running ancient software, and it's still doing its job. And if you made it this far, you're the kind of person who actually wants the real answer instead of the comforting one. Subscribe.